Hey girl. Well, I hope you are so enjoying the summit that you are participating in, and we're super excited to welcome you to thinning the line between work and home. We are going to talk about that crazy gray area that the pandemic brought to us unintentionally between work and home and work, and what to do about it, clearing it up and thinning it out. I'm Kat Fry, and I am the owner and founder of Oxygen Coaching Group. We are business coaches that work with teams from solopreneurs all the way up to big fancy companies. But we are here today to help you with this sticky gray area that we all seem to be fighting with, and some tools and tricks to help you get through it. So buckle up and let's see if we can help you. All right. So we are very accustomed to hearing clients that we work with say things like, well, going to work is easier, or, we're struggling with balance. We don't have enough time in every day. We always make an agenda at the beginning of every class for things that people are hoping to get out of it, no matter what the topic of the class is. And getting time management tools or figuring out how to find more time in the day is always one that comes up. So we'll even give you a few tips and tricks for that one. All right, so let's talk about this gray area to start. When COVID came into our lives, some of us already had the juggle of our side hustle and bringing it into our lives, trying to manage our home and our work. And it was what we thought was normal. We were, going to the grocery store in between breaks or dealing with sick kids and trying to handle it. So it was a little bit different. But then when everything was shut down and we brought our work home, there were some added layers. And that's what we want to talk about today. We found some really great things that came about. For me personally, my kids came home. I had teenagers at the time, and we all got to eat dinner together again. Rather than rushing all around, there wasn't anything to rush to. So my teenagers at the time came home and ate dinner with mom. Maybe they weren't so excited about it, but I really enjoyed it. So that's something that we took from that time in our lives and decided we were going to maybe keep. I also happened to lose some really valuable things to me during the pandemic because I decided that things that were important to me weren't important to other people in my life. So it was not definitely a all positive situation for me. And so don't think that this is all going to be glitz and glam. All right, so here's what we got. We got kids at home. Thank goodness. Maybe some of them went back to school by now. We got a really hard time managing. We also got the inability to walk away from chaos. So my word for it is we all ended up dysregulated. We weren't sure how to walk away from the chaos. So that created this gray area. And if you are anything like me, you maybe pivot well or you multitask well. I found that that doesn't always work for me. And I think that if you're a solopreneur or you're a hustler, probably taking this talk or have joined this summit, that probably describes you. Here are some of the things that we found work really, really well, even if you're a hustler and you pivot well and you multitask really well. The first thing that I'm going to suggest is to decide what it is that you want. And I'll tell you, this one's really, really hard for me because I find that putting it into words is scary. It's actually scary for big entrepreneurs as well that are running Fortune 500 companies, because we all kind of have this fear of, well, if you ask for it, you just might get it. But if I ask for it, then somebody might know I'm asking for it. So the first thing is to decide what it is that you want. This also brings up a really interesting side topic that we talk about very often as well. And that's practicing what we want in business in our personal lives. So let's talk about that as well. Very often people say, well, Kat, this stuff that you teach us in business, why does it apply? Why would I take it home? In fact, usually it takes people 2 or 3 weeks to buy into this concept for me. If you take a moment and you think about it, our collateral at home is actually more valuable than even the paycheck that we get at work. Yes, we need money to survive. I won't take that from you, but we take that money home to provide for our families. So the skills that we teach in business training, which is kind of the biggest thing that makes us different here at Oxygen and why the Oxygen model is so incredibly different than what you'll find in other business training facilities, is that we're encouraging you to see what you need at home, you also need in business, right? Here's that gray area again. So if you ask for something or you see a goal in business, it's clear, right? I want 10 new customers this year. Okay, what's that goal at home? I want clean closets, or I want a more balanced schedule so that my kids can have dinner with me at home, just like when there was no ability to go to baseball and hockey and dance and PTA meetings. Okay, so this is that one piece that I'm really going to encourage you as that hustling female, as that go-getter, multitasker, handler of all the things. Decide what you want as an end goal. Is it 10 new customers? Is it $500,000 in sales? Is it $2 million in sales? Is it one new client? Whatever that goal is for you, and I want you to write it down. We'll give you a resource here at the end. We have something called a battle book, but you can honestly write this down anywhere it's safe for you, okay? Write that down. Then I want you to just work backwards. If $2 million is your goal, or $500 is your goal, or one new team member is your goal, what's it going to take to get that one thing? If family dinners are your goal, what's it going to take to get that one thing? Who's going to need to help you? What is it going to take to make it happen? Where are you going to have to order that dinner from if you're not one to cook? Okay. What are the steps? And what do you have to do every day to make that happen? Here's the thing. This isn't some earth-shattering concept that I'm talking to you about. We've all heard this before, but very few of us actually do it. Why? Because it seems too simple. But if I point out that when we clutter up the space, it gets gray, now that gets hard. All of the chaos that we live in is what caused that difficult space between work and home and work. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. And that sounds so cliche when it happens. But if you take that work and home calendar, you lay it one over the other, man, there's only so much you can do, right? I think that when my kids started driving, I was so excited because I was like, oh yes, more drivers, right? More people to shuttle the next person around, but there's still only so many places that you can go. So decide what it is that you want and then work backwards and decide what are the priorities that I have to do. I got to get my kids to school, or I have to help my parents do this one thing every morning. I have to make 5 phone calls to potential prospects or check in on these employees every morning if my business is going to be successful. Those are the things that you do first. By the way, nowhere on that list was check my social media for notifications, check my email, do anything that's going to pull me down and make me feel bad about myself. Okay. You can do all those things after you're pumped up and have been productive. All right. So that's the first thing. We call those in our classes our leading indicators, the things you do every day. and our lagging indicators, the things that you can say, yes, I did them. No, I did not. Yes, I sold $2 million. No, I did not. Yes, I brought on one team member. No, I did not. Yes, I had family dinner every day for 5 days in a row, or no, I did not. Those are all lagging indicators. Yes, I did them. No, I didn't. Okay. So that's a really, really important one as to clearing up that space. Here's the second one, and this is a big one when it comes to the word dysregulated. You have to be comfortable in the space that you work in. Now, even if you've gone back to a physical location, we're 3.5 years into a post-COVID world. So if you have gone back, this still applies. And this is also really good to model for your kids as they move through life. So really, really love this skill and get good at it. You need to like the space that you are in. So here's a really good one. Your space should be clean. We do a 10-day cleanse challenge every year that everybody seems to really love, and how to kind of clean out your sock drawer and clean out mail and things like that. It's because we tend to gather crap. It should be a color that you like. You know what? We can all paint walls. Sometimes it's tough to be in a space that you don't enjoy. Wear clothes that you like. If you are a dysregulated person and you wear, I will just take an extreme because I don't like this one. If you wear skinny jeans that are too tight and you don't like them, why do you think that you're going to be productive? You have to be in a space that you enjoy. I had a coworker at one point who was allowed to work remote before remote was cool. And he always said that he was more productive with his dogs at his feet because it was calming for him. If you're one of those people, do that. It is so important to work in a space that is productive for you. If you're a road warrior, clean your car out, give it a bath. It's not again, this is not a foreign concept. However, we don't take the 5 minutes to make our space comfortable or make sure that our outfit is comfortable for the day. We would rather be uncomfortable and assume, we all know what that means, that we will be productive when we are uncomfortable. Again, this is all the time that we waste, and all that space in us gets cluttered with all the crap that's taking up our bandwidth. I wrote in a book a few years ago, if you can get on my website and find the book, we are capable of so much bandwidth. We earn bandwidth. We earn bandwidth every day. Sometimes I think it's as simple to earn bandwidth as smiling at a stranger and making their day a little bit better. You earn bandwidth by good customer service. You earn bandwidth by being a good mom or being someone's friend or helping someone. Bandwidth is credential. It is being a good human. You lose bandwidth so much faster than you gain it. And so if you are at a point where you're like, you know what, this gray area between the pandemic, between work and home and work, man, this girl, she's preaching at me like, this is it, I'm stuck in it. Take a check. Like, how do you feel? Is your energy like, is it stuck and you're not sure? How do you feel right now? Take a check. Is it because you hate the earrings that you have on? By the way, I feel like I wear these every day because they're comfortable and they don't click my earpods. Do your shoes bother your feet in 10 minutes? Get rid of them. They're the worst shoes ever. You don't need to wear them. And by the way, in a Zoom world, nobody can see your shoes. Being dysregulated is never going to allow you to be more productive. My dad used to say to me, don't trip over a dime to pick up a penny. And I think if we are in an environment that this gray area has caused and we're wasting our bandwidth on things that cost us bandwidth in an unfortunate way, we're not doing ourselves a service. And females, we're smarter than that, right? Okay, so the first thing is to identify those goals and kind of speak them into existence. The second thing is to regulate your space and really know where you feel your best. And if you aren't feeling your best, clean it up. Do what you got to do. That is really, really important. The third thing is to decide what you have to do to fix your tribe. Now, I've told you a couple of tips right now. Let me tell you a little bit about me and Oxygen and how we got our start. I am a recovering people pleaser and came out of what I call the big three industries: construction, manufacturing, and intermodal transportation. I lived in the big boys network. And one of the things that I identified was that it's hard to be alone in any situation. And what we found in the isolation of the pandemic was that we needed community. We needed other people. Not that we're going to do the work that we were doing, but just to be with us in communication. Young people, they have this. They have information at their fingertips. What they are lacking is the ability to collaborate. So here at Oxygen, we encourage you to just take that moment and breathe. Just take it in and decide, hey, how am I doing right now? And who do I need to put myself in community with so that I can go to the next step? And by the way, we provide tons and tons of community. Businesses, they need that community all over. For women, I feel like women need that also in a separate community and in those business communities. So we do all the things. Find your tribe and love them hard. That gray area was full of isolation. And I think what we found was what brutally didn't work for us and what we needed and we didn't have. Now, the question is, did you listen to yourself? Some of us gave up some really, really hard things when we decided it wasn't working for us. And I give you kudos if you had to go through that. We all need a ton of grace on this journey. The things that you needed, have you gone out and figured out how you're going to get them, or have you gotten them? And have you found your tribe? Clean up that gray area. Decide what it is that you want and go get it. It is so exciting to be in a time where you can literally have your home and your work overlay. And then when you need it to separate, you can separate it. We coach companies all over the country and a few outside the country that have fully embraced this. I say I did Zoom when Zoom wasn't cool. I was actually selling it when it was technology that was emerging. And now it's a normal buzzword for people. And there's tons of other options. You can find expertise anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be around the corner. There's tons and tons of opportunity. But if you're bogged down and you're dysregulated, you'll get eaten up. So with all of that said, we have given you an opportunity to join an Oxygen community. There are tons and tons of links, and we will be participating in some of the open forums here in the summit. Please don't hesitate to jump in and interact with myself. My coaches will be available in our community forums. And hey, girl, we got you. Remember, just take a little time to breathe life in.